Terry, could you give me the slope-intercept form of y equals 4x minus 1? Exactly, the same thing. Y equals 4x minus 1. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, with m being the slope and b being the y-intercept. So this one is already written in slope-intercept form. Just stop me if you have a question. Nakia, what is the slope of this? 4. The number in front of x when written in slope-intercept form. Good. Chowan, the y-intercept? The y-intercept is -1. You can get that right from the equation. That's one of the advantages of slope-intercept form. You can read the slope and the y-intercept, and you do not need to do any calculations. Jessica, the x-intercept. Okay, thank you for your honesty. So, the x-intercept algebraically can be found by plugging in 0 for what? Y. So, let's do 0 equals 4x minus 1, and then we solve for x. So, Jessica, can you guide me through the solution steps? Add 1.
And then
Divide by 4. Yes. The y-intercept has an x-coordinate of 0. The x-intercept has a y-coordinate of 0. The y-intercept is the point at which the graph crosses the y-axis, and the y-axis has an x-coordinate of 0. Or all points on the y-axis have an x-coordinate of 0. And similarly, the x-intercept is where the graph crosses the x-axis, and on the x-axis all points have a y-coordinate of 0. So that's the justification for plugging in 0 for the other coordinate. Okay? Terry again. Can you give me 3 ordered pairs that are solutions? 0, -1, good. 1, 3, I agree. 2, 7, yes. So all you need to do here is take some values of x. I didn't dictate what values to use. So 0 is one of them. Plug it into the equation. 4 times 0 is 0, and 0 minus 1 is -1. Similarly, he chose 1 for the next x-coordinate. Plug 1 into the equation. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 minus 1 is 3, and etc. Okay? If you want, you can also do a T-chart, like I have up on the board. There. Celine, what kind of graph will this equation produce? Okay, I was looking for something more general. I'll go to a volunteer. Brett? Yes, this is a linear graph, or you could simply say a line. What kind of equation is y equals 4x minus 1? A linear equation. So its graph is a line. Any questions on the pre-graph questions? Okay. Now the graph. If you know how to graph this with the slope-intercept form, that's great. You could also use the points. For example, I can graph Terry's points. 0, -1. 1, 3. 2, 7 is off the chart, but I can probably figure out where it should be. Another thing that you can do is use the intercepts. The y-intercept is -1, and the x-intercept is 1/4. It's there. You could also use the equation. The y-intercept is -1, and the slope is 4. So you can start at -1 on the y-axis, and then go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and to the right 1, because 4 is 4 over 1. Then use your straight edge. You only need 2 points to graph a line, but it's nice to have a third for confirmation purposes. And it goes on forever in both directions. Any questions on the graph? Okay. Numero 2. Nikia. Slope-intercept form. Y equals 2 over 3x minus 2. Could you tell me algebraically how you got there, please?
I don't know.
Well, I'm glad we're going over it then.
I guess solve for y.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. Get y by itself. So, tell me. What's your first step?
Minus 2x.
I love it. And what does that get you?
Negative 3y equals 6 minus 2x.
-3y equals 6 minus 2x. Keep going. Next step.
Let's see. I guess divide by -3.
Yeah, you want to get y by itself. And what does that leave you?
2.
Y equals
Negative 2.
-2.
Minus 2x.
You're going to do it with my help. -2 over -3 simplifies to what? No. Nikia, what's a negative over a negative? A positive. And 2/3 is a reduced fraction. No need to go to the calculator. So it's just going to be plus 2/3 x. Right? And then with slope-intercept form, we write the x part first. Okay, so if we did the math right, it's y equals 2/3 x minus 2. Any disagreements or questions on that part? Sweet. Dan. The slope, please. Positive 2/3. Yep. We can read that right from the equation. Nikki S. The y-intercept. -2 also can be read right from the equation. You don't have to plug in 0 for x, but you can just to prove it to yourself. Amber, the x-intercept. 3. Tell us how you got that.
I just plugged in 0 for y, so 0 equals 2/3 x minus 2. And then I multiplied everything by 3 to get rid of the fraction, so 0 equals 2x minus 6, and move 6 over, and 6 equals 2x divided by 2, x equals 3.
Nice.
What'd she say?
Okay, so the biggest part is that you need to make y 0. You can make y 0 in the original equation or in the slope-intercept form. I think it's easier to use the original equation. So you get 2x minus 3 times 0 equals 6. In other words, the y term goes away, which simplifies to 2x equals 6. Divide both sides by 2. You get x equals 3. Okay? Jen, please give me 3 ordered pairs that are solutions to this equation.
-0, -2.
0, -2. I agree. because that's the y-intercept.
Yeah. Or
Negative 3 and negative 4. Negative 3, negative 4, I think is correct. Yeah. And another one? Zero, 3? That's impossible, because you said 0, negative 2. So try again. I think that's what you just said.
Yeah, okay, so what's still wrong? Okay, then
I think you want to say 3 comma 0.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say sorry.
That's the x-intercept.
Yeah, wait, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. You did not intend to hurt. Next, Julia, the name of this graph? It is also a line, because it is a linear equation. The highest exponent on the x and y is 1. Okay. Next random person, Celine. Please guide me through graphing this. The second one. Go to 0, go down to, yep. 3, 0, good. 6, 2. Okay? Good. That's one way to graph it. Any questions on 2? Okay, the last one. This one caused some people trouble. That's good. It challenged you. That's how you grow. Good. So, Dan, let's go with you then. The y-intercept. 0. Dan, the x-intercept. Also 0. Dan, give me 3 ordered pairs. Say 1, 1, yes. 2, 4. Yes. 3, 9. I agree. So what's going on here is you're squaring the x. Very good. This is not a line. Dan, how can you tell from the equation that it's a parabola? How can you tell from y equals x squared that it's a parabola? I think you understand. I'm looking for a really simple answer, which is based on the exponent. Because you have a square on one of the variables, okay? As opposed to just the exponent of 1. Good. And then, thank you, Dan. Somebody else? Another volunteer for the graph. Amber?
Okay, so I put for x at 0, 0.
0, 0.
And then I put a point at
1, 1, and negative 1, 1. Good.
And then one at 2, 4, and negative
2, 4, and negative 2, 4. Good. Nice. I would say that after lines, parabolas are the most frequently used type of graph. There's a lot of things in physics that have this square relationship. For example, gravity, or the position of something due to gravity. Good. Also, what came to mind after helping Nakia is doing this on the graphing calculator. It's nice to be able to do. So if you have a graphing calculator, I would follow along. The first thing I would do is go to y equals, which is in the upper left. I would then make sure that all of my plots are off, otherwise you might run into an error. So I will press enter over plot 1 to deactivate it. So make sure that you have none of the plot 1, 2, 3 highlighted. If any of those are, move your cursor over them, press enter to deselect them. Also make sure that your Y list is clean, including the ones at the bottom. Make sure you have nothing in any of them. That will also cause an error or confusion. And then you can scroll back to the top. And we'll start with number 1, y equals 4x minus 1. So with the keypad, type 4. The x is to the right of the alpha key. And then minus 1. Okay, so far? Now you can hit graph, but you may not get anything. So let's fix that. One option you have is to go to zoom, and we can choose number 6, Z standard. This makes a window of negative 10 to 10 in both directions. So press enter. Now I'm getting something. If I want it to look exactly like what I have on the paper, I can go to window, and you'll notice that on the paper the x starts at negative 6. So I can make x min negative 6. I used the del key to remove one of the characters. That's how I did that. And then I can make the x max equal to positive 6. I will leave x scale at 1. And also notice that on the graph, on the paper, it goes from negative 6 to 6 on the y. So let's make y min negative 6 and y max 6. Leaving y scale alone, and x res, you may not even have it. I don't even know. I think that's for inequalities, for graphing inequalities. I can find out on my own. Then hit graph. Now it is exactly what you have on the paper. Other things that you can do or play around with here are trace. If you press trace, it will put the cursor on the graph. Yeah, right? Technology, man. And then you can move the cursor to see the different values of x and y on the graph. That's fun. Here's another fun thing. You can go to second. The second button is the blue button. And then press graph. And it's actually going to go to table because that's what's written above graph. And it gives you a T-chart. OMG. Okay, 0, negative 1 is a point, 1, 3 is a point, 2, 7, etc. The limitation is all the graphs, all the equations need to be in y equals form. So if you have something like 2x minus 3y equals 6, you'll need to convert that. Okay, any questions on using the graphing calculator to graph? And on my in-class assessments, you can use a graphing calculator. Mostly. I will tell you in advance when you cannot. We good? Great.